So how does the U.S. fit into all this? How does the United States fit in? Does the U.S. recognize the ICC's jurisdiction?
So the United States is not a signatory. And notice that all of this is happening in this vacuum that the world is perceiving in the transition from President Biden into the new President Trump, because they know what is coming. What I would say to the President Trump and his administration is they must be ready on day one with pragmatic solutions. A partner for that is the Iraqi Kurdish president, Nurchivan Barzani, who's engaged with Turkey, Syria, Iran in a way to come up with solutions, not diktats. And that is what could actually bring this conflict to the end. Russia is doing everything it can. Some are telling me losing 1,500 soldiers a day to grab as much land because they know they're going to be at the negotiating table with President Trump in a couple of months. Okay. And so they're all positioning themselves to be in the best possible situation while the world abandons Israel that is fighting this very legitimate defensive war.
So that's the latest on the war in the Middle East. If we can, let's move to the war that's happening between Russia and Ukraine and Europe. Why is it setting off these massive alarm bells around the world that Russia is using these new weapons?
Well, I think that we have to see that this conflict, particularly now with President Biden's extraordinary decision to allow Ukraine to strike sovereign Russia deep into its territory with intercontinental or thereabouts missiles, is provoking the beast. And Europe is not able to defend itself, even though it has armed and improved all of its NATO bases. They are now facing a very belligerent Russia. At the same time, we have a completely compromised Red Sea. The world is separating between Western liberal democracies and authoritarian regimes, Russia, China, Iran, Syria. We are in the first low-intensity theater of conflict of World War III. That is happening centered on Israel. This is not only about Hamas and Hezbollah. And the West is being tested and being shown to fail not to respond because of American ambivalence. No matter how powerful the mandate is for the new Republican presidency, which is extraordinary, America is going to need geopolitical partners to bring this back from the brink. And we are going to have to make peace between Russia and Ukraine. And we are going to have dialogue with Putin in order to safeguard Ukraine and Europe and ourselves.
One of the biggest campaign promises that Trump made, regarding foreign policies, he was going to end this war on day one, or in 24 hours, I think he said. So same difference. How would he do that? And in between now and then, between now and January, how vulnerable are we, with both sides? What does Zelensky want to try to get done before he becomes president? What does Putin want to get done before he becomes president?
We are vulnerable. And in fact, one of the problems of the ICC decision is that it is creating a wedge between the United States and the European Union. That's one problem. Another problem is Iran has Hezbollah cells and similar terrorist cells in Europe and the United States that it can activate whenever it wants. I do believe President Trump is able to begin the first step to peacemaking, which is dialogue. We've had no dialogue between the United States and Russia for over 2 years. And so the first step is meeting at a table. And I think that will help, and that will give the world a bit of breathing space and confidence.
Yeah, the optics, though, some are not going to be happy to see the President of the United States sitting next to Putin right now either, right?
Well, they may not be happy, but we have no choice.
And that will end the bloodshed, you think?
We cannot afford a global conflict. And I think that meeting should be in the region. This cannot be Western nations issuing dictates. This would be something that could be held in Iraqi Kurdistan that has relationships with Russia and Russian oil, and bring the U.S., the Middle East, and Russia together to begin to calm this down.
Dr. Qanta Ahmed, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming into the studio, too.
Always a pleasure, Anna.
Have a great Saturday. All right. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.